But I want to point out to people that had this been the case while he was president, there's no way you wouldn't have known.
Right.
Yeah.
Because he would have had to have these treatments. So this is not something he was carrying around or that he was hiding. And as Anna said, we know about his struggles.
Now that reports confirm Biden has late-stage prostate cancer, which takes years to spread to the bones, there's no realistic way doctors didn't catch this long ago. It's physically impossible, especially given his age and constant medical attention as president. This wasn't something that just popped up overnight. Doctors would have been treating it, monitoring it. There would have been signs, appointments, medical procedures. So now we've entered a whole new crisis. First, it was about his cognitive health. Now there's a serious cancer diagnosis that throws even more questions into the spotlight. Who knew, and for how long? He mentioned having cancer in the past, but most dismissed it as a slip-up from his usual confusion. Turns out it wasn't a gaffe. It was a breadcrumb of a much bigger truth, and of course, The View stepped in to soften the narrative. They're already talking about treatment options and brushing it off like it's no big deal. But let's be clear, if he had this condition during his presidency, we would have known. He'd have needed regular treatment. That means someone covered it up. And that makes this more than just a health story. It's part of the same orchestrated charade they've been running for years. And
what they're saying is, you know, there are three ways they can treat it. His age will have a lot to do with how they do it. But I want to point out to people that had this been the case while he was president, there's no way you wouldn't have known.
Right.
Yeah.
Because he would have had to have these treatments. So this is not something he was carrying around or that he was hiding. And as Anna said, we know about his struggles. We know about his struggles, and now we know about this one. And I just, again, want to commend the people who cut their tongues off and said, get well soon, you know? And because I think that it did something for me.
And the people who didn't cut their tongues off, I have a place where they can put them.
I don't think this is time for politics, but what I will say is that this administration has cut cancer funding research by 31% since 2025. And the U.S., for being such a wealthy country, seems to be cutting cancer research not only for our elderly, our men, but also our children. And I think that's so despicable and so disdainful.
This entire segment is a perfect example of just how deep the deception runs. The ladies on The View are acting like it's unthinkable that Joe Biden's advanced cancer diagnosis could have been hidden for years. But let's be honest, if you still think the government wouldn't go out of its way to keep something like this from the public, especially in an election year, you're not paying attention. The media has a long track record of protecting narratives, not challenging them. And the Biden administration has been built on carefully curated PR, not transparency. Anna Navarro's offbeat tongue comment. That was just a distraction. More circus, less substance. Meanwhile, Whoopi tries to act like it's completely unreasonable to believe there could have been a cover-up, as if the concept of government secrets is a wild conspiracy. This is the same White House that spent 4 years pretending Joe was mentally sharp, even as the world watched him fumble through press events and speeches. And now, with this cancer revelation, they want us to believe they were just as surprised as we are. Please. Sunny Hostin then tries to pivot into healthcare policy, using cancer funding cuts as a way to distract from the real scandal. Yes, healthcare funding matters, but let's not pretend that Joe Biden, of all people, was denied top-tier medical care. If anything, he likely received more care than any average American could ever hope to afford. So suggesting this was some tragic oversight in the system is not just disingenuous, it's insulting. And let's not forget the bigger picture here. This wasn't just about hiding a diagnosis, it was about maintaining power. There's a long-standing political principle: never show weakness. If the public had known Biden was battling late-stage cancer while visibly declining mentally, the calls for removal or stepping down would have been deafening. So instead, the insiders kept quiet, the doctors kept quiet, Jill Biden kept quiet, and the media, they played along. The truth is, the presidency has become more about optics and less about leadership. We're watching history repeat itself in real time, where a small group of elites manipulates the system, props up a frail figurehead, and gaslights the public for years. And when the truth finally surfaces, they expect applause for finally admitting it, as if we're supposed to thank them for their delayed honesty. It's disgraceful. This should serve as a wake-up call, not just about Biden, but about how fragile and fake the entire political theater has become. If they could lie about this, what else are they hiding? What other decisions are being made in secret while the American people are left in the dark, told to sit down and trust the process? That's it for now. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you next time.